Hey guys, how's it going? Robert Warshank here, and we're going to be going over and reviewing some of the cards that have been announced, or I should say revealed to us from Saviors of Uldum. This expansion, I'm going to do something a little bit different. We're just going to review the cards that kind of stand out to me and give me like, ooh, this is going to make for a really fun deck, or ooh, this is going to be a competitive card, because going over every single card is a lot of, I wouldn't say a lot of them, but some of them are fillers. They never see competitive play. They never see any play at all, actually. So reviewing them, probably not going to be beneficial for you or me. So with that, let's head into our first card, which is actually what I think is going to be a pretty powerful card, and that's going to be the Mage Legendary Quest. This is Raid the Sky Temple. As we know, the legendary quests, if you have them in your deck, they will go into your starting hand. So if you have this in your mage deck, it will always be in your starting hand at the beginning of every single game. This goes for all of the legendary quests. And you can, of course, play it on turn 1. So cast 10 spells, as we know. Cyclone Mage can currently do this pretty much by turn 1 or 2. I'm just kidding. No, but casting 10 spells for a Cyclone Mage is really not that hard, or even Mage in general. If this said cast, 10 spells that didn't start in your deck, it makes it quite hard, and it's very similar to the previous one. So just cast 10 spells in general. Pretty easy to accomplish. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just something Mage does. You don't actually have to really try to do it. And then you actually get the reward, which is an Ascendant Scroll. So let's take a look at what that bad boy does. Oh, wrong. It's a new hero power you get, costs 2 mana, of course, and it adds a random mage spell to your hand that costs 2 or less. So a value generator, regardless what's going on the board, regardless what's in your hand, you can click this at the end or the beginning of every turn and generate yourself a random spell. As we know, random mage spells are pretty good. Off the top of my head, I think of Flame Strikes, Blizzards, Fireballs, Frostbolts, Pyroblasts. Those are just good cards. Getting them reduced by 2 makes them even better. To me, this is a very powerful card. It's an infinite, and it's an infinite value generator, but it's not like, it doesn't like ramp up, and it's just the one spell every turn. But that still can be really annoying, and it's very hard to play around cards like this. Like, you know what I mean? When they randomly generate secrets, you just have to hope to God that you guess right? So looking at this as a fun perspective, it's a fun card. Looking at this as a sort of competitive card, or a card that's going to tilt the hell out of me, of course it will, but it'll be fun when we play it, and it won't be fun when we play against it. And that's basically what we have going on with that. The next card we're going to take a look at is going to be the Shaman legendary quest, and that's going to be Corrupt the Waters. So again, starts in your opening hand, costs 1 mana. We're seeing a trend here. Quest, play 6 battle cry cards, and then its reward is give you a Heart of Virnal. Hopefully I said that right. I probably butchered it, but that's okay. Here's the passive. It's hero power. Your battle cries trigger twice this turn. Again, you have to pay 2 mana to activate this ability, and then you would play your battle cries. As we've seen this expansion, we have a lot of Shaman battle cries, especially ones that are pretty powerful. Looking over to my left here, we have cards like Sludge Slurper, Menacing Nimbus, Bog Slosher, Electro Storm Surge, Fire Elemental, Swamp Queen Hagatha. The list continues. Playing 6 battle cry cards. Again, doesn't really seem that big of a deal, and you're not really going out of your way to build a deck around this quest. And this is like, we've seen it with the Mage, we've seen it now with the Shaman, and I just want to bring up like what made these cards really cool previously was your deck was literally built around this quest, and then the rewarded your deck even more, or was able to that was your win condition. When you have quests like this, you can kind of play this in any Shaman deck, and you're going to get this reward. You know what I mean? You don't actually, you could technically run only battle cries in your deck, but you don't actually have to do that to complete this quest, because most of the cards you're going to play in your deck anyway have battle cries. It's not like your deck's being just solely built around this card, which is, I think, pulls away from some of the deck diversity which we would have seen if a little bit more in-depth quest cards were made that actually forced a certain deck archetype or multiple deck archetypes, and you have different ways to complete the quest. Again, just my take on some of these quest cards. I think they could honestly have been a little bit cooler, but it's still not bad. Still an interesting card, and double battle cries is something we've seen previously with Brand Bronzebeard. It was an okay card. It was found in a lot of different decks. It was a very good card. I say it's okay because eventually I was just like, okay, Brand Bronzebeard, blah blah blah. But yeah, so obviously pretty powerful. And do I think this is better than the Mage one? Probably not, but it's still a really solid one. Moving to the next card, again, that synergizes with the whole Shaman Battlecry thing. We have the Weaponized Wasp, 3 mana, 3/3 beast, Battlecry. If you control Lackey, deal 3 damage. Shamans can generate Lackeys. Lackeys have Battlecries. So in itself, Sludge Slurper is 2 Battlecries. Pulling this off and meeting its requirement in the early game, you're going to win the board. This is for the cost and for the stats. This ability is insane. 3 mana, 3/3, deal 3. Think about how good SI Agent is, and then think about you don't have to combo it and you do 1 more damage. So, I mean, super solid card here. Follows, again, Battlecry Shaman, shaping up to be a pretty powerful deck. So yeah, moving to another Shaman card, we have Earthquake, 7 mana, deal 5 damage to all minions, and then, the ground shakes again because there's some aftershock, baby. And then we deal 2 damage to all the remaining minions. So what makes this stand out to me is the fact that it does damage twice, and that works as we've seen Token Druid, Soul of the Forest. You use Flamestriker Blizzard, and then they still have a board left over. You think of all the mechs and the microbots, they have the Death Rattles, they summon a bunch of 1/1s, there's mechs left over. Earthquake says, there's no mechs left over. It says, you're getting Nade, here's the initial damage, here's some extra damage, and hopefully the board should be dead. So that's why I like this card. 7 mana is a pricey point for this. I mean, 7 mana, that's a lot of the times you're playing against an aggressive style deck that does run, Token Druid, some of the mech decks. You're dead by turn 5 or 6. So living long enough to play this is going to be the hard part. Once this does get played, this is where you're going to start coming back. So 6 mana, I would have liked to see maybe this at 6 mana just so you can play it out a little earlier, because this against a control deck isn't going to do anything anyway. Like if the minions are huge or you're playing against a control deck, dealing a lot of damage to everything doesn't really do anything anyway. This is literally just an anti-aggro tool, and making, having this do 3 damage or 4 damage and then dealing 2 and then making it cost a little less, so we have some extra tools, would have been cool. But again, haven't played with the cards. Maybe 7 mana is good. I'm just saying that's a lot. 7 mana is a lot of mana. Thanks, Rob, for pointing out the 7 mana is a lot of mana. Good analysis, Rob. Moving to bees. 3 mana, choose a minion, and then summon 4 1/1 bees that attack it. So I actually made a whole entire video just solely based on this card alone. I'll try to cover it the best I can, and hopefully you understand it by the end of it. So choose a minion, summon 4 1/1 so it doesn't do the 4 all at once. It does them periodically. So for example, if a minion has Divine Shield, it's gonna 1B takes out the Divine Shield, and then the rest of them, the 3 damage remaining, will hit that minion. As we know, dealing 4 damage directly, if you Wing Blast a minion with Divine Shield, obviously it doesn't do its due diligence in killing that minion. So this is good in that aspect. The second aspect is it combos with cards potentially like Knife Juggler. You're summoning 4 1/1 Knife Juggler is gonna ping 4 time. It combos well with cards like Raid Leader, Direwolf Alpha. All of these cards, are able to buff these bees. You're summoning 4 of them. That's a hell of a lot of damage. On top of this, it works and synergizes with the overkill mechanic. So if you choose, for example, you're running, I know this isn't like a great example, but Gurabashi Berserker is like the first thing that comes to mind as I think of like an overkill mechanic, or when it takes damage effect. You can have the bees hit your own minion and trigger its ability. So for example, also Frothing Berserker, you know what I mean? So this can be synergized with your minions. It can be synergized, well, you don't really want to synergize it with your opponent's minions, but it works well on them too, because you kill off minions. But anyway, works well on overkill. That wasn't I had to look into this card, so I'm like, how did the bees work? So I actually, I watched a few videos and read up on the card on the Reddit forums, and it's like this card has so many uses, and this card's going to be a super cool card, and it's going to make for a lot of really interesting combos. And this is an example of a really nice, awesome card. This is probably the coolest card I've seen so far. It is just the amount of uses it has is just so awesome. So super excited to see cards like bees, and hopefully we see more of that kind of card as we see more and more cards get released. Moving to our last card we're going to take a look at, it's going to be the Psychopump. 4 mana, 3/1 Battlecry. Summon a random friendly minion that died this game. Give it Reborn. So obviously this Battlecry is very, very powerful. What makes the downside, all right, so obviously we see the upside. You play Res Priest, it summons, let's just say Ragnaros, plays big thick minion now not only comes back to life, it also has Reborn, which means it comes back to life again with 1 HP. The downside of this card is the fact that this now is a really shitty card for Priest to resurrect. So as we know, Resurrect Priest mainly only runs big minions because when they play Resurrect, they want to hit a big minion. With this card having a super good ability, but itself is really bad, it has that huge upside, but now Priest also has that huge downside of when they play Mass Resurrect or any sort of resurrection spell at all, it has the possibility of bringing this guy, a 3/1, back to life. And every time they bring it back to life and it dies, it has a higher chance to come back yet again, and it's in the pool of cards being resurrected. So as much as it does have an upside, it also, again, does have a pretty substantial downside, but still a very powerful card, still very cheesy, not really a new effect to Priest at all. Rezzing minion and then giving it reborn, I mean, that's kind of something anybody could have said Priest was going to get this expansion. It's like, yeah, Priest is going to get some sort of resurrect, and it's probably going to have reborn on it. Brilliant. I know I'm kind of being harsh on these cards, guys, but that's just... I really don't mean to harp on them. I just want to see more. I want these cards to be the best cards they can be, and fun, and everybody's having a good time, and to make a lot of cool decks. You know what I mean? So it's not necessarily that I'm like not looking forward to this expansion. I just want to I want to see the innovation here. I want to see that good shit. You know what I'm saying? And bees, that's my good shit. So with that, feel free to add on to anything in the comments section below. I always enjoy reading and seeing what you guys have to say about these new expansions, because I'm just a single mind. You guys are a community, and you guys definitely broaden my views when you guys explain, elaborating on what I said or giving your opinions on whatnot. It really helps me making those reviews, and it also helps me, look at things from a different angle. So with that, thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you in the next episode, of course, and I look forward to playing all of these new cards for the upcoming expansion. For those of you still watching, I just wanted to put a little note here at the end that, again, I am going to be leaving the country for like a week and a half when literally the day that this set or the new expansion releases, which super sucks. I know there's nothing I can do about it. It's a family trip. So if you're wondering, hey Rob, where's all the content when the new expansion hits? I'll get to it as soon as I get back. I literally just won't even be in the country to be able to make content or play with any of the new decks. Roughly about a week and a half from the expansion release date till after. I know, terrible timing. Yell at me. I am well aware. So with that, guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next episode. As always, I'm Robert Warshak, and happy whatever the hell day it is.